To be considered fair and reasonable by the court during divorce, these terms should account for standards of living enjoyed by spouses before the breakdown of marriage, the extent of contributions, including indirect contributions by the spouse, such as taking care of the family and maintenance of the property, as well as the rights, needs, and interests of the children. The deed of separation may also include a term about residential arrangements for the spouses, stating that they will start living separately from each other, either in separate residences or even under one roof, but without keeping marital relations or running a joint household. Other essential terms of the deed can include provisions relating to the following. The deed of separation is a written agreement executed as a deed between a husband and a wife regulating the period when the spouses remain officially married but live separately or under the same roof without maintaining family relations. Singapore law does not require registration or filing of the deed of separation with the court or any public authority. Thus, the deed remains a private document between the spouses who can keep the existence unknown to anyone, including relatives and friends, for as long as they wish. The deed of separation must be written, as it would be hard to prove the existence of an oral agreement in case of any disputes. For the deed to become valid, it must be signed by both spouses, preferably with the witness, as well as before a commissioner for oaths. Although the deed of separation is not absolutely required by law when you file a divorce on the grounds of separation, there are numerous situations when it's better to have a deed of separation instead of not having it. The examples include cases where the spouses are involved in the following. You are trying to avoid the chance of a contested divorce and the high cost of resulting litigation. You want to separate while remaining in marriage due to religious or other reasons. You prefer not to divorce yet while the children are still young. You are still unsure about the divorce but prefer to start living apart and need to settle on the so-called ancillary matters such as taking care of the children and dividing assets. Or you have decided that you want to divorce but just not yet, and you want to delay it for a while more while you consider other ancillary matters. Or you cannot officially divorce in Singapore yet because you haven't been married for 3 years. Alternatively, this could be because you want to live in your flat and complete the minimum occupation period before you file for a divorce. Or you may want to file for divorce at a later date. The deed of separation can be used later during divorce proceedings concerning the ancillary matters, which would help avoid disputes between the spouses and contest in court, saving time and legal costs. What's more, the deed of separation also clearly states the date when the spouses are officially separated so that they are eligible for divorce on the grounds of separation after 3 years, when both husband and wife agree on divorce, or 4 years, if one of the spouses objects to the divorce and contests later on. First, the deed of separation should include the date when the separation actually started and when the parties think they might file for divorce. It must be remembered that the separation does not trigger the divorce automatically. So those spouses who want to set a date for initiating the divorce after separation should state so in the deed. The deed of separation may also include a term about residential arrangements for the spouses, stating that they will start living separately from each other, either in separate residences or even under one roof, but without keeping marital relations or running a joint household. Other essential terms of the deed can include provisions relating to the following. Child custody, whether this will be sole custody by one parent, joint custody, or no decision yet as to custody. In Singapore, joint custody is typically one of the most common choices when parents have to agree on major decisions regarding children's lives. Care and control of the children. This defines which spouse will actually live with the child and who will handle daily matters and make day-to-day decisions. Access to children for the parent who does not have care and control. The options include liberal or reasonable access, with liberal access providing the most flexibility regarding timing and visitation rights. Spousal and children's maintenance. In most situations in Singapore, the wife is entitled to receive maintenance during separation or after divorce, or both, except when the husband is disabled or unable to support himself. To be considered fair and reasonable by the court during divorce, these terms should account for standards of living enjoyed by spouses before the breakdown of marriage, the extent of contributions, including indirect contributions by the spouse, such as taking care of the family and maintenance of the property, as well as the rights, needs, and interests of the children. Occasionally, spouses mistakenly consider that separation is equivalent to a divorce and starts the divorce process. It must be remembered that while the deed outlines the terms for setting the ancillary matters after divorce, spouses remain officially married until a divorce is actually filed. If spouses want to remarry after separation, they must first get the divorce completely settled. It is also worth noting that after signing the deed of separation, a spouse can back out of the deed of separation by turning to the family courts to set aside the deed on the basis that they feel some of the terms of the deed were unfair, or that there was a misrepresentation of the facts before the signing of the deed, or that they were forced or coerced or unduly influenced to sign the deed without the benefit of legal advice. So now you know. If you found this helpful, follow and subscribe to our channel for more legal things.